Salutations, ladies and gentlemen, back with more Lines of Battle content for you. This is another email submission from Smalls, and he actually sent me 2 battles, so kind of you, sir, and I'm just crazy enough to cast them both. So grab a drink, grab a snack, because we are going to be looking at a lob double header today. Now, Smalls is going to be in the blue in both of these games. In this map, he is going to be in the south, and his first opponent is going to be in the red Montenegrin, who we are going to call Monty for the remainder of this video because it's shorter and I like it. And oh boy, look at the skins this guy's packing. You know, you got to be stylish when you're slaughtering your enemies. I'd expect nothing less from Monty. And so let's take a look at his army here. We got 8 line infantry in the center, 2 guards, 2 Gren in reserve. On his left flank, we got 3 guards, 5 line infantry, 3 Gren. And on his right flank, we have 5 line and 3 Gren, but no guards. So if there is a weak flank on the red army, it is the right flank. Of course, you got your skirmishers, you got a couple of light infantry mixed in, which is very, very standard. We got 3 dragoons and 1 hussar on the right flank, so again, weaker in the cavalry on the right. He's got 5 goons and 1 hussar on his left, and then it looks like he's got 4 curs in reserve. And when we take a look at his artillery battery, he's got basically 1 giant battery. He's got 1, 2, 3 12s. He's got a couple of 4-pounders and a couple of rockets, which I am really excited to see in action. And then he's got a couple of 6-pounders on the wing. So a pretty balanced army, not super infantry heavy. In fact, actually a lot of artillery pieces. He's got, well, let's see, is that 9 artillery pieces? Oh boy. Okay, so we'll see if he can make him work. We'll see if he can defend his bubble. Meanwhile, if we take a look at Smalls, yeah, a lot more infantry in this army. Let's take a quick count. So 4 Gren here, 2 guard, and 5 line infantry on the left. A huge block in the center. He's got 5 line infantry and 12 Gren. Holy cow, the Gren factory is pumping them out. And then 5 guards and a huge cavalry contingent on his right. We got 4 dragoons, 2 hussars, 4 lancers, 2 hussars in the front, and then just 2 lonely goons on the left. And his artillery is actually really sparse. He's got 1 Lycorn in the back. He's got 2 12s. He's got a couple of what look to be 6-pounders. Are all those 4-pounders? I can never remember. No, those are 6-pounders. Okay, so he's got 3 6s, 2 12s, and 1 Lycorn. Pretty basic map, not a lot to comment about, and I already had to explain those big armies, so here we go. All right. Don't let me down, Smalls. Who's going to use, okay, hold on. Who's going to be using the river to their advantage here? Because we already have one guy that's got a major core separated by the river. Is he going to be going for neutral objective and then flank? We'll have to see. Meanwhile, I would love to see Smalls use his cavalry advantage here, get an early win, especially with those glass cannon lancers. All right, he's moving out. Skirmishers taking good positions in the woods. Yeah, really nice spread here by Smalls. Really good skirmisher positions. I'm a little bit worried because he is almost double. He's actually only half the artillery of his opponent, excuse me. And I don't know, is he going to have to be forced to charge with this big infantry block? That does worry me. We could be seeing an absolute slaughter pen because there is just very little cover for the approach. All right, skirmishers going in, going to try to just disrupt. One gets absolutely obliterated by a dragoon. I love watching skirmishers just get wrecked. Rockets already wreaking havoc. And these, I've heard that in mass, rockets can just be absolutely devastating. Curs just continuing to pick off skirmishers while getting shot up by the cannons. Whoa, buddy! Oh, Monty! Monty, you gotta be watching your goons here, bud. Hold on, we gotta get the slow-mo here. Let's get the slow-mo. Ow! Whoa! That was a hit if I've ever seen one. All right, let's speed it back up. Okay, so Monty's cavalry just completely gets obliterated. I don't know if he fell asleep for that one, and he's going to lose his artillery too. What is going on, Monty? Are you so worried about your right wing coming in for the hook here? It's kind of weird because he's advancing here, but he's not advancing any of his core. So I guess this is going to be a holding action while the right swings in, but it's going to have to go through a lot of terrain, and it's going to be pretty easy for Smalls to interrupt that approach. So, yeah, that cavalry fight was, how do you say, horrible. Oh, no, but now Smalls gets charged. No! Oh, buddy. Oh. See, I want to say Monty got that completely by accident. There's no way he sacrificed his goons on purpose to bring in the curs. I think Smalls just had a really good opportunity and then forgot to move his cav. Oh, man. Well, these guys are 1,200, okay? Which is where I am, so let's not give him too much slack. All right. So curs just absolutely dominate the blue cav. More blue cav on the left. Okay, Smalls is going to try to make something happen here. I like that, but now his infantry has absolutely no cavalry support besides a couple of exhausted units. Okay, Dragoon's going to catch, going for this infantry charge here, just not going to work. So this cavalry charge is going to remain very impotent, and now it's looking very good for Red, because now, really, he only has infantry to interrupt this big batch of artillery, and I got to give it to Monty. He's done a really nice job separating his artillery into different batteries. So when Smalls charges, he's not really going to have one position that he can hit. He's going to have to kind of try to cover multiple different batteries, which is going to be difficult because there's a lot of open ground here and a lot of chances for the artillery to do work. And the infantry that Monty has is not light. He's going to need to get through a lot of line and that unit of guards. Oh, and the curs are still around. Okay, so push from the right flank by Smalls, but it's not being supported from the center. Now the curs are going to come in. They're going to finish up the rest of the red cavalry, and it looks like the right flank is finally coming in. So if we take a bird's eye view of this battlefield, we see two kind of disjointed attacks, one from red on the extreme left and one from blue on the extreme right. Now, I would certainly think that blue has a better attack here, but there's still a lot of reserves for red, and we have to also remember that the curs from red are still alive, whereas the blue cav, I mean, it's kind of out here chasing around at units. If we get the casualties, oh, wow. Yeah, okay. So 3,000 losses for red, 2,000 losses for blue, but red also has a slightly bigger army. Yeah, it's not looking great for Smalls here. Because now that this infantry is bunched, the artillery is just going to be pouring in fire, especially the rockets. The line infantry going to hold really well. The guards holding as well on the extreme left for red. And now the entire charge by blue is being disjointed, and he's going to have to slowly retreat, but he's going to be taking fire the entire way. And meanwhile, the right hook from red is actually working out pretty successfully. And the slow retreat from blue, he's going to try to reserve as much of this as possible, but he's not doing a full withdrawal. Okay, so this is the problem. He withdrew on the right flank, but he maintained the attack in the middle, and that allowed the middle to just get absolutely decimated. Now, granted, he did disrupt Red's formation quite a bit. Like, if you can look at this battle map, there is no formation anymore. But, I mean, take a look. There's a lot more red units standing than blue. Red has all of the neutral objectives, and he's certainly got to be, yeah, okay, so the casualties very quickly rewrited themselves, and a lot more of the blue units are gone permanently. So this is looking to be a wrap-up from red as long as he doesn't botch it. Rockets continuing to do what rockets do, and oh, and these clumps, they're just so devastating. Look at the org damage. Oh, nice little push here, but in come the reserve guards, and it looks like the guards are going to maintain the line for red. The rockets continuing to put supporting fire in, which is going to do very, very well. And the right hook from blue actually holding off a little bit of his line, but again, so many red units returning to the map that it did not matter. And a clear victory for Monty in that first game from Smalls. A very Pyrrhic one. He did actually lose more units. 15,000 men lost to only 13,000 for Smalls. But yeah, I mean, look at the loss of horses. 2,000 of his 3,700 horses. And yeah, that one lapse from Smalls lost him the game, because he had an amazing charge on those dragoons, and if he had pulled back and if he had had that massive cavalry for that assault on the right, to kind of block the Kurs or maybe even hit the infantry from the back, that could have been a much different battle. But the red artillery, it was never threatened, and so it was able to just pour in fire. Meanwhile, this right hook from red, while it wasn't the most successful, it did do a lot of disruption here on the blue batteries. So I'm going to give that one as a pretty solid victory to Monty, though a very costly one. And not bad by Smalls in any way, just a disjointed cavalry charge that was not followed through on, and then a disjointed charge with kind of a bit of a panicked retreat. So let's dive in to game number 2. All right, folks, here we are in game 2. Smalls once again in the south of the map in the color blue. His new opponent in the north of the map in the color red is Jorge Sebastian Andia Abanto, which we're going to shorten to Jorge for obvious reasons. Now, we're not going to look at Smalls' army again in detail. It looks to me to be basically the same composition, maybe a little more cav on the left, maybe a little less infantry. His deployment is certainly different for this map. So he's gone for 2 thin lines and then a big, meaty stack of guards here on the right, which makes me curious if he's going to go for some big right hook. And I'm hoping that's what he does, because he's got the 7 guards, he's got all of his shock cav here, and he's got a ton of open space. Now, you got the 2 towns, but those aren't a big worry. And on the left flank, it's going to be very mired. It's going to be like this is a skirmisher rifleman wet dream here with all of the town space and the 1 kind of pixel forest areas. So you definitely want to go for something a bit more passive here because of the terrain, but you can go for a big right hook here. And if your opponent just tries to sit in the towns, well, then you've separated his force and you can defeat them in detail at your leisure. But let's take a look at Jorge's army, see how he's going to counteract that. Very light on infantry, even lighter than Smalls' first builds. He's just got 2 12-pounders and 2 Lycorns. I don't know if that's going to be enough for this price point. That just doesn't seem like enough artillery support. He's gone moderately heavy on the rifles. He's got 4 rifles. He's got 6 Kurs, so another very heavy Kur force. He's got 4 guards, and 2 more, so he's got 10 total guards. So this is a very light, elite infantry force. You can see he's only got, let's see, 6, 8, 10 line infantry in his entire army. 12. He's got 4 Grens, and then he's got 8 light infantry, which on this map, light infantry in larger numbers, I think would do well. He's got 2 more Kurs and 2 more Lancers, so he's got no light cav whatsoever and no medium cav, just kind of the glass cannon Lancers, which I guess are light cav. And then just heavies from there. So it's a very small army, very elite. We can take a look at the numbers here. Actually, no, very, very slight advantage in terms of the army power. But I'm guessing in terms of numbers, it's got to be clearly in Blue's favor. But anyway, I'm predicting the big right hook. We will see. And as far as what Jorge's going to do, I'm not sure. This army is going to be tough to deploy on this map. I guess if he can get all of his lights into this area and on the hill, his composition is going to do well. But right now, I think Smalls just kind of has the better army type for the ground they're fighting on. But I could be wrong there. All right, both moving out. There it is, the skirmishers. I always love the initial dash where all the skirmishers just over to the towns and the trees. Oh man, that is like the staple of Lob since the new patch, and I love it to death. All right, so the skirmishers and the riflemen. Do the riflemen actually do better in melee than skirmishers? I'm not sure. 21-21, 12-12. Yeah, they're pretty similar. So they'll just kind of hit each other with wet noodles the entire time. Cav Force is going for a wide sweep to the far right, guards being held in reserve, and Jorge holding most of his army in reserve, just rushing his center line up to the hill. But without proper artillery and cavalry support, this could get ugly fast because these cannons are going to be in range very quickly. And so I think this rush to the hill is going to be a bit of a trap for Jorge, especially since he's not committing fully. All right, Small's going to sense that. Rifles of red going to be going out. They're going to be trading fire with skirms. And of course, 2 rifles firing on 1 skirm. That's going to be a nice win for the rifles. But Oh yeah, we're already seeing it. Look at this middle hill, just with the immediate artillery support and the skirmishers and the supporting fire of the line infantry and just bogging down that red infantry. Look, now Jorge has to run, and these guards are going to take a ton of rear damage from being fired on. And yeah, just a sloppy rush there from red, and it just comes from people thinking that hills are the be-all, end-all of lob games, which I've talked to a lot of high-end players, and they say that hills are good, but dying for a hill is not good. And so it looks kind of like that's what Jorge did here. Now this is recoverable, certainly. I mean, he's taking damage, but not enough to lose in the game yet. Okay. Oh, hey, look at this. Look at this. It's not like Monty. He's actually going to move his cav. Bringing up his Grens on his left to support. I like that. Oh, God, no. Oh, Smalls, you did it again, buddy. Oh, I don't know why you keep letting your cavalry get hit for free. All right, okay, so there's a lot going on here. So Smalls has created a box. Okay, so he's boxing here. Oh, wow, this is very like Battle of the Pyramids, Napoleon squares. He's got artillery on the corners, and he's got infantry holding up the line. He's got the town. Yeah, this is going to be a very tough position for Jorge to crack, especially if he can't win these little skirmisher fights, which it does not look like he's doing. And, oh boy. Yeah, red has kind of ceded the best ground on the map to blue, and now I don't know if he's going to be able to wedge him out. We'll see. Asar getting smashed trying to get some rifles. That's never a good trade. Okay, but the blue cav actually going to win here against the Grens because some of the Grens pulled back. I'm not sure why they pulled back. Lancers coming in, and it looks like a pretty good win for blue on the right. Red's taking decent trades on the left, and in the center, nothing's really happening. All right, a little counter artillery fire. Red actually starting to win more on the left, but he's having to pull a lot of resources here. So we can see by how much he's pulling, this center is just getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And on the far right, he's taking ground, but he's, you know, outnumbered in artillery. So yeah, again, this is the problem with static lob is if you allow your opponent to get all this good ground and your armies are of a similar strength, there's just not a ton you can do unless he makes a huge mistake and just kind of gets half of his army killed. All right, both flanks continuing to pepper each other. Counter artillery fire still going well. Blue still holds the town and hill. Smalls being very patient here. I like this. At this point, I would be maybe one of the players that would say, okay, cool. You know, I've strung him out enough. I'm going to lead an attack on the center. But I like that he's being patient. He knows he has good ground. He knows he's not losing these fights. And so he's going to just continue to fight on the periphery and let Jorge come to him. And I like that. That's a good playing to your strengths. And I think he's being much more organized and much more forward thinking with his units than he was in the first battle. All right, the elite guards are moving in, about half of the reserve, but there's just not a lot of great engagements for them here. Curs are getting wrapped up. I guess they're doing some work, but again, I'm just wondering when this, when this center core has to move in. I just don't know how much it's going to be able to accomplish. Looks like blue is actually winning here on the right. Charging into light infantry, that's actually going to be a good charge for him. Yeah, okay, wow. So really nice cavalry control here by Smalls on the right flank, left flank of red. And yeah, now it's really looking good for Smalls. Look at this, 1,900 casualties to 2,900. And so red, I wouldn't be surprised if red just kind of gives this up right away. Okay, now the center assault is coming in. He sees that he's weakened him enough on the right. Yes, there is still a Quagmire in the left, but he's pulled just enough units to hold that off. He's got his rifles and skirmishers, and this is what these units are for, to hold off on the fights where, those are not the crux of the battles, so that your actual main units can take part in the main fight. So if you think about how many good elite units are going to be bogged down by basically free units, while the actual army wins in the center, that's another very good move by Smalls. Whereas, I don't know what's been going on here with Jorge, but he's got a good section of skirms that have not moved at all. So I don't know if he's just AFK at this point, but not completely. And that's going to be the game. So a very close defeat for Smalls and a very clear victory in his second game. But hey, I hope you guys enjoyed that double header. I always love bringing as much lob action as I can. And Smalls, thank you so much for submitting it. I really do appreciate it. Submit a battle if you got one that's interesting and could be worth a cast. But until next time, guys, have a great day. Have a great life. See you later.